is Wednesday, May 6th, 2015. This is Oh Say Can You See, the bi-monthly live call-in show of the Society for Economic Equality. Tonight's topic, and if you watch our show, and I hope you do, you know that we usually bring you bad news, corporate crimes, racist cops, environmental destruction. We bring you the bad news, and you can handle it because you're our loyal watchers. But tonight, we bring you good news, news of hope, news of good cheer. Bernie Sanders has entered the race for the Democratic nomination for president. And here with me tonight to explain to you why that's good news is Bobby Gilbert, Pablo Bale.
Hello.
Bobby's a longtime member. Pablo is a new member, but he has his own show called Tiempo Latino.
Tiempo Latino.
Tiempo Latino. When's that show again?
Well, it depends on when they let me do the show.
Oh, it depends on when they let you.
Yeah.
I see how it is. Well, when's the next one?
Hopefully in a few weeks.
Okay.
But you can go to Grand Rapids tiempolaTino.com.
Oh, you have your own website, and that'll tell you where. Okay, can we get that on the screen sometime during the show? Grand Rapids tiempolaTino.com.
Yes.
Okay, and with us tonight is someone who's not a member but who has been on the program before as a guest, and she did a program about a year and a half ago on fracking, which is a big issue and was going to be the issue of the night until Bernie Sanders came on. Well, we're live coming from the studios of GRTV in beautiful downtown Grand Rapids, and here is our host for the quiz portion of our program, Leisha Fagan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, folks, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Do you know who Bernie Sanders is?
Oh.
Senator.
Absolutely.
We're going to see tonight just what you know. Where did Bernie Sanders grow up? Clap your knee when you want to.
Vermont. Vermont.
Bobby.
Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
Bobby.
Bobby. Bernie grew up in Brooklyn.
Point for Bobby.
True or false? Bernie Sanders grew up rich.
True.
Nah.
Yeah.
Poor.
That's
poor.
right. He's the son of Jewish immigrants who were very poor, didn't finish school, and never made much. Okay. Bernie has held various jobs. I'm going to list 6 jobs. I want you to come up with the 3 that he has not held. I'm going to tell you Bernie's been a writer, a filmmaker, an advertising executive, a CEO, a carpenter, a lawyer, and a researcher. 3 of those he really hasn't been.
He's never been a lawyer.
Correct.
I got one.
Good, Stephen.
I'm gonna guess maybe he's never been in CEO.
Correct, Bobby. He's never been a CEO.
He's never been an advertising executive.
That is correct again, Stephen.
But he was an underwear model, right? Oh, wait a minute, that was that brown guy.
What year and at what age did Bernie start his political career? After he was a carpenter, a writer, and a researcher. He was born in 1941, and 3 decades later, in
71!
Yes! He started his political career. Extra points if you know under what flag, so to
Flag?
speak. Yes.
Flag.
He was a member of the anti-Vietnam War Liberty Party in Vermont.
Oh.
All right.
All right. Okay, moving closer to the present. Oh, the big election that I think is worth talking about is, or shall we talk about it later, when his opponent was backed by both the Democrats and the Republicans, and he was running for, Stephen, help me.
The Senate?
I think it was his
Third-term
mayor.
mayor of Burlington, Vermont.
Yes,
so.
he was running for mayor of Vermont in 1987.
Mayor of Burlington, Vermont.
Burlington, and both parties were backing his opponent. Did he win?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Yay. I can see that happening this year. The Republicans and the Democrats trying to gang up to stop Bernie.
Yeah. Did Bernie vote for or against our involvement in Vietnam, or in Iraq, excuse me?
Against.
Yeah, he opposed the war.
He opposed the invasion, that's right.
I think
Very
he
good.
was
Both
the
times.
only senator, no?
Yeah. But he
Who
also
opposed?
voted against, when he was a congressman, when the first Bush attacked Iraq.
And he opposed the war,
Yeah.
He
right?
opposed the use of force, yeah, in 1991. Okay, here we go. What do you know about the speech that got people inspired to start calling on Bernie to run for president? This was about 5 years ago.
I have no
And-
idea.
I don't think I heard of it either.
It's been called a filibuster, but it wasn't because it didn't stop any legislation. But he since printed it in The Nation. He called it The Speech, a historic filibuster on corporate greed and the decline of the middle class.
Didn't know that.
No.
So that was on the Senate floor
Yes.
5 years ago?
And it was longer than a usual work shift. It was 8.5 hours long.
That's a speech.
And the most quoted line from it is, "Enough is enough. How many homes can you own?"
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So people started calling for his candidacy. He announced his candidacy, I don't know, what day this week?
It was the 30th, wasn't
30th.
it? April 30th?
So that was Sunday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he announced his candidacy on Sunday, the 30th. Anybody know how much money his campaign raised in the first 24 hours?
I've read conflicting, but I thought it was 1.5 million.
1.6 is
One-
what I
okay,
read,
yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It's huge, huge. Okay, and these last questions are for those who think that he's a fringe candidate and couldn't possibly win. So he raised 1.6 million in the first 24 hours after announcing his candidacy. How many people to date have, well, as of 5 hours ago, volunteered to help Bernie Sanders become president of the United States?
How many what?
How many people have volunteered to work for Bernie Sanders to become, so far, in these few days? 3 days. 175,000 people are ready to work for him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a fringe candidate.
No.
This concludes the quiz portion of our.
Well, that 1.6 or 5 million that he raised in the first 24 hours was more than Rubio, Rand Paul, and Ted Cruz raised in their first 24 hours, and he raised it. The average donation that was $43. So how many people did he have? I mean, that's a simple math
In
question.
those
I can't-
dollars, it was 35,000 people donated.
Oh, so
In the
35
first 24
times
hours.
43.
I'm sure it's many times more now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, those first 24 hours. But the point is that he raised more than the three declared
All together.
Combined,
altogether.
Word is
Yeah.
all together, combined.
But of course, these candidates don't get small donations from a large number of people. What they get is large donations from a small number of people.
Well, the important thing is he opposes the Republican agenda, right? He's willing to talk about economics,
sure.
the poverty that people is living, the low wages, the corporations moving factories and other businesses to China. That's the core of his campaign. He's willing to talk about serious issues that are affecting the people, instead of talking like abortion and the opposition of.
He's consistently supported abortion rights,
I mean, these are serious
but
issues.
he doesn't make a big point of scaring people about
But
it.
I mean,
Right.
like Republicans, the only thing they talk is about gay rights and.
Oh yeah, he's consistently
opposition
supported
to
gay rights
abortion,
too.
no?
He voted against the Defense of Marriage Act. He's not gay himself.
Well, I mean, like, while the media is talking about, like, the hair of the clothes of Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah. His hair has come up quite a bit. even Jon Stewart, the first thing he said was, "If I were his manager, the first stop would be Supercuts."
Nice.
But he's willing to talk about serious issues, you know.
Oh
I
yeah,
agree.
he's a serious man for sure.
I mean, like, we had this clown, Ron Paul, like, he's talking about decreasing wages and for poor people, abolishing the state, and Bernie Sanders is talking, well, we need to invest in Social Security, we need to expand Medicare, we need to
He wants to make Medicare for all, which
affordable,
was
right?
No. Dennis Kucinich's plan for health care in the United States, Bernie Sanders endorsed and continues to endorse. It's a single-payer system. The bill that Dennis Kucinich wrote simply says Medicare for all.
Which
Everyone
means-
would be in a single system, and it would be the Medicare system.
Healthcare for all.
This is what Bernie Sanders believes. I'm wondering if we've got that computer running, and if we're going to be able to see any clips of Bernie Sanders tonight. If not, we're going to be able to see something. If you could get anything queued up, let me know through the floor director. In the meantime, we could put up the phone number, which is 459-4881. And if you watch our show, and I hope you do, you know that it's a live call-in show,
Uh-oh.
and we welcome your calls.
Today's May 6th.
Pardon me?
Like the
And-
date.
and-
Not yet.
Um,
They're still working on the computer. Bobby, you've been rather quiet. Why don't you tell us why you support Bernie Sanders, if you do? I don't know.
Well, I appreciate that, like Pablo was saying, that he actually is thinking about the people that he's running. You know, he part of his socialist democracy, this Democrat that he proclaims himself to be, are a lot of the values that I care about. You know, the healthcare for all. Cheap, easy school for people. You know,
He wants free higher education, as
Yep.
they have in Germany.
Yeah, that would just be amazing. Some of his other issues, you know, helping keep taxes where they belong, and so that the poor people aren't getting taxed more than the rich people. Things like those
He's
issues.
proposing an overhaul of the tax system to make it much more progressive. He's proposing taxes, which he says are not taxes on the rich, they're taxes on the very rich. He's more concerned about the top
0.1%.
0.01% than the rest. These are the people like the Koch brothers who are distorting democracy. The Koch brothers are going to spend $1 billion on their vision of what America should be. And Bernie Sanders has 175,000 volunteers. So this is a very clear choice we have in this election this year between a future with a human face, a future with hope, a future with fairness and a chance for all. It looks like we have the clip of, all right, are we going to be able to hear that here? So are they going to, it's no sound yet?
Not ready.
It's not ready yet. Well, if you haven't seen Bernie Sanders speak before, you're in for a treat. I myself first heard of Bernie Sanders back in the mid-'80s when he was mayor of Burlington. My friend Scott Cousy was talking about this socialist mayor in Burlington who was thinking of running for Congress. And I said, oh boy, he's got a brilliant career ahead of him. He's a self-proclaimed socialist in the United States. He says, well, you know, Vermont's pretty liberal. You know, they might just elect him, and they did. And from there, he's a two-term senator. He's the longest serving independent in the U.S. Congress. In his first election in 1971, he got 1% of the vote. But in his last election in Vermont, he got over 70% of the vote to win a second term as senator. This guy's a hard campaigner. A lot of these newspaper people and media people keep trying to get him to admit, oh, you're just in this to push Hillary to the left, aren't you? Because you don't stand a chance. You're not going to get any money. Nobody knows who you are. You got funny hair. You don't smile all the time. You're sort of irascible. You're too old. All these things they're telling him. And he said, no, I'm in it to win. He's in it to win. And I say to you, my friends, that if Bernie cannot win, then we cannot win. This is an election with a clear choice. It's a choice between a fair future for human beings and corporate control of our political system to the point where it'll be the corporate logo stamped on the human face forever. It's a clear choice. We want to hear what you think about this. It's 459-4881. We're coming to Unite Live May 6, 2015 from the studios of GRTV and Leisha on the spot.
All right. Well, I'm excited about Bernie Sanders for many, many reasons. He's a what's that term? Let's get it clear. He's a social Democrat. He's a democratic socialist.
Democratic socialist.
Democratic socialist. That means he's for private and public enterprises. He's for many social institutions that support people, such as fair wages, unions, child care, the schools, the higher education. All of that should be paid for by our taxes. He's for getting rid of the loopholes for the very wealthy so that we have the money. The money is ours, it's just offshore. So everything that he stands for, I stand for, but in addition, the thing is that he's never sold out. He's been in political office for these 34 years, and he's never sold out. 44 years. 44 years.
1981.
Years.
1981 to the present.
No, 71.
71.
He started in 71. He didn't get elected.
Oh.
He started trying to get elected.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, he's been at it a long time, and he has never sold out. He's never become a corporate shill. He's never become somebody who's there for his own gain. He wants the people of this country to have a democracy, and that's what he's about. He wants the middle class to survive and thrive, as it
And he
should.
believes that the only way the middle class could survive and thrive is if there's a decent safety social safety net for the poor, because the way that the rich use the poor is quite shameful. They use them once to scare people. The middle class is like, you could be like this. We can do this to you too if you don't kiss the hand that beats you in the workplace. You can end up homeless like these people. So when there's no social safety net, the American worker will be frightened into accepting any bad deal corporations like Walmart or McDonald's give them.
And they often turn on each
They
other.
turn on each other, right, and turn on the poor. It's like, oh no, the poor are, well, the reason we can't make it is because those darn greedy poor people. Well, it's not the greedy poor people. It's the
Well, what I don't understand is how come like people who works in McDonald's or works in a factory votes Republican, you know.
well, usually
That's
because
beyond my imagination.
Me
Like,
too.
why do you support Republicans? I mean, they
Um,
cut services, they favor the rich, you know, they favor millionaires to cut their taxes, like Snyder.
I think you pointed out earlier how the Republicans use divisive social issues to get people to vote against their own economic interests.
Right, if it's
a
gun
divide and
control.
conquer thing. It's like, you don't like gay people, you do. You go, no, I
Right.
don't like gay people. I'm going to vote Republican, even if it means my minimum wage will never rise. Even if it means my kids are going to die in a foreign country because of a war designed to enrich Halliburton.
Like, I was in a hotel meeting like 6 months ago about, there was this Republican congressman, and everyone was clapping, and I just can't believe, man, like, none of these people is a millionaire
No.
or super wealthy people, and they favor these guys that they are carrying your social services and then making the poorer. And look at the state of the roads in Michigan, you know, holes everywhere. And this guy's been there, I don't know, 8 years or 4 years already. And look at Michigan is just going down, and people can support these clowns that don't
Are you
do
calling
anything
Snyder a clown?
I mean, it's not Hamash.
Oh,
Hamash. And
Hamash.
Snyder too, you know, like he just proposed this Proposition 1 to tax people to pay for the roads and supposed to be paid for the schools. But he's giving big breaks, tax breaks to super wealthy people from Michigan. And people say no yesterday. They say no.
Oh, yeah,
we
they
don't
said
want
no
we don't want
resoundingly.
taxes.
They said no resoundingly. They said
Yes.
no. They said no. Over.
Like
Excellent.
60%,
No, it was higher than that.
80%,
80%.
80%, right?
4 to
Say no, we don't want higher taxes to pay for
Roads that we've
Well, I
already
don't
paid
think that-
for.
Yeah, what people don't want is a system which the Republicans have done this before, and they set it up this way. They took two issues. They took the schools and the roads, and then they came up with a really arcane way of paying for it. And the last time they did this with Proposal A back in 1992, they just ended up shifting money out of what the tax was created to fix schools. The schools weren't fixed, but the money just sort of disappeared back into the general fund. And people did not want that again. The Republicans designed this proposal to fail because they wanted to kick it down the road. But let's stick to Bernie Sanders. Look, I've got a few quiz questions for Bernie Sanders about Bernie Sanders. True or false? Bernie Sanders has never aired a single negative attack ad in any of his campaigns.
It's true.
True.
He has never aired an attack ad. He is not about gossip and personalities and gotchas, but he is a strong campaigner, and when he has an issue to take with you, he's going to take it to you. So with Hillary, he says, I like Hillary, I know Hillary, but he says, I have been consistent on issues of gay rights. He shows his consistency, and he says that she cannot take on the corporate powers, since she is so beholden to them. Her money, her connections, her political power is flowing through corporations like Monsanto, one of the biggest poisoners in the world. And she cannot be our advocate. She cannot be our president because she will always be their president.
She was a major person in their recent PR campaign, and she said, you need to rebrand GMOs. You need to use better language for GMOs. She's coaching Monsanto on how to sell their poison better, how to sell the things that are creating all kinds of problems, health problems, cancer, birth defects, all kinds of things. Most countries in Europe have banned these things because they're proven to be very dangerous. But she's coaching them on how to look good to the American people.
I know. She is to Monsanto as Dick Cheney was to Halliburton.
Yes.
And she's sort of a smiley face Dick Cheney in that sense, because neither of them is going to take on these multinational corporations. No. She voted for the war in Iraq too. And the reason she did so is because she's politically ambitious. And at the time of that invasion, she thought it would be death to her career if she didn't show herself willing to go to war. It's like, who would ever take me seriously as a woman to be president if I am not as bloodlusty as any Republican man?
But Bernie stands on his principles.
He stands on his principles, so you can believe.
Vote to look one way or another. He is who he is, and that's how he votes.
Right, and that's why he's not a, he's not one of these toothsome used car salesman types. But when he says something, you know he means it, and he can be somewhat curmudgeonly, and he'll tell you if he resents something or if something makes you angry. But you can tell that it's his real concern about right and wrong, and about people, and about practical solutions to the problems of real people that are driving his candidacies, his entire career. You know, he's not a power-hungry dictator in the making, far from it. He's a principled person who's found an area in which he believes, and I believe, he can make a difference day to day and in the long run. This is a live call-in show. It's May 4th, May 6th, Wednesday, May 6th, 2015. Our phone number is 459-4881. We are willing to take your phone calls, but we would also like to show you some clips of Bernie Sanders. I hope we've got that computer up and running. It's still not ready. Still not yet.
Well, I guess Bernie Sanders has like an immediate effect on Hillary Clinton's campaign because a few days after Bernie Sanders announced his candidacy, Hillary Clinton got together with some dreamers.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
Right.
And she started talking about that she supports an immigration reform, and
yes.
she opposed any blockade to the immigration reform that President Obama was proposing. So I think that Bernie Sanders have immediate effect on Hillary Clinton. So, somebody's on the phone?
Well, yeah, the thing is that what we know about Hillary Clinton is that for the political gain that she will evolve, but that means in the general election she'll tack back to the right, just like her husband did.
Right.
They have a lot in common, those two, in terms of political opportunism and what they call triangulating. But let's not get into them right now, because we're here to talk about Bernie Sanders, and we're on the phones with Cindy. Cindy, talk to us about Bernie Sanders.
Hey guys, so glad you could take my call.
I'm glad you could make it.
Oh, thanks. I have a question. We have such a low turnout in the 18 to 24-year-old category, and it's been really, really difficult to get the minority sector to get out and vote. I really would like to see an increase, especially with persons of color, Latinos, to come out and support Bernie Sanders as a candidate. How do you feel that we should go about really rejuvenating that base when the same folks feel like they get let down over and over again? What do you think would get them out to the polls?
Well, you know, we as just average people in Grand Rapids, I think what we need to do is approach the people that we know, ask them about their experience, tell them what we know about Bernie's experience. If we can get if we personally can get a few people interested in volunteering and that becomes a whole web of people. I don't know, what do you think, Cindy?
Well, I think there needs to be a lot of focus on just really demonstrating to the American public, especially groups that have suffered a lot from our militarized police, that Bernie is serious about changing that he really wants to see lives matter for people that haven't mattered, that have had to sit on the sidelines in our society and, be pushed around. And I just, really think there needs to be some kind of connection, more so than what there has been.
Well, he just declared his candidacy. There are a lot of issues in which he has been consistently on the sides of the underdogs. He's been always against the war on drugs. He's always been against the privatization of prisons and the militarization of the police. On those three issues, this is something that everyone should be concerned with, but obviously some people have been more oppressed by the war on drugs and the militarized police and the privatized prisons and the constant warfare and the deterioration of our schools than some others.
And I'm also concerned about the voter suppression.
Oh my God.
All the new ID laws that are coming into play and how that will affect people that are poor that can't afford identification.
Oh yeah, he's on that issue too, but he's going to have to face that sort of Republican chicanery and overcome it this time for him to be in a position to do anything about it. Hey Cindy, we finally got our computer up and running, so
Woohoo!
If you have a final comment, then we'll go and watch some of Bernie Sanders.
I just want to thank you guys so much and good luck.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, can we have that clip? Which clip is it? We finally got some clips to run. We wanted to show. Oh, here we go.
This country today, in my view, has more serious crises than at any time since the Great Depression of the 1930s. For most Americans, their reality is that they're working longer hours for lower wages. In inflation-adjusted income, they're earning less money than they used to years ago, despite a huge increase in technology and productivity. So all over this country, I've been talking to people, and they say, how does it happen? I'm producing more, but I'm working longer hours for lower wages. My kid can't afford to go to college. I'm having a hard time affording health care. How does that happen? While at exactly the same time, 99% of all new income generated in this country is going to the top 1%. How does it happen that the top 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%? Owns almost as much.
Well, we at least we got a few seconds of the clip there before it crapped out on us. What he was talking about, Bobby.
That's the most amazing thing, and I don't think people realize those numbers are just extraordinary. 99% of all the money that us people are working for is going straight to the 0.1% on the top. It's like, it's incredible, and people don't, and they are getting lower wages, and they are working more hours, and they keep getting told that you're not working hard enough, you know, but they obviously are, because someone's making money, it's just not us.
The American worker is the most productive in the world. He produces more money for his boss than any worker anywhere else in the country, and the way that this has been done is by squeezing him more and more, and giving him less and less of the value of what he actually produces.
Yeah.
This is how capital formation has always worked. There is a surplus value of people's labor as they turn natural resources into products that are turned into money. We have reached a point of absurdity where 1% is taking 99% of everything, and instead of giving back to the workers, all they're doing is creating a more oppressive police state, so
Absolutely.
that these statistics are similar to Russia and France before their revolutions in terms of the disparity in the wealth of, and this time it seems the ruling class, which I'm sure they know about the French Revolution and the Russian Revolution, they're probably relying on the technologies of surveillance and repression to prevent the type of social unrest that has resulted before. And they may even be ready to use that social unrest to their advantages to, say, fill more of their privatized prisons. Well, I'm sorry we weren't able to show you more of the clips, but if you could go to YouTube, look for Bernie Sanders, you will find many clips of him from C-SPAN in the Senate. I saw a good one recently where he was trying to talk Rand Paul, of all people, into supporting a rise in support for food programs for senior citizens, and he was showing how better nutrition for indigent and low-wage and fixed-income senior citizens would result in a net savings to the states and the federal government because of people being able to stay in their homes and people not going to emergency rooms because of malnutrition and things like that. Well, Rand Paul's like, well, tell me again how spending money on old people is going to save us money. And Bernie said, well, I just told you how I was going to do it, but since you barely were listening, here it is again. Oh, we have another caller. One of the usual suspects. Rick, I know that you've been a close observer of the career of Bernie Sanders for years. Tell us what you notice about the man and his issues.
Well, it's good to see can you hear me?
Turn them up a little bit, please. Rick, try again.
Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Okay, I'll try.
Speak loudly.
All right, it's good to see an avowed socialist running. I know that in the past, some of the members of the organization have voted for people like Ralph Nader and I don't know who else, maybe a Green Party person. But as our esteemed founder, Frank Girard, used to say, you know, these people are not against capitalism per se. In fact, Frank didn't even think Bernie was enough of a socialist. But, you know, that's kind of like almost like religious dogma, you know. I mean, somebody says, oh, you're not a good enough Jew, not a good enough Muslim, not a good enough Christian, what have you. But I think Bernie is an avowed socialist. He doesn't run from the label, and I think he'll bring a lot of issues to the forefront. It's going to be hard for him to beat Hillary Clinton for the nomination, let alone win the election. But I think it's good that he's out there, and I know that he used to be mayor of Burlington, Vermont, I believe, and
Yes.
he was in the House, U.S. House for years before he was elected senator. I don't remember exactly what year that was, and I don't know as much about him as I'd like to. I called both his office in Washington, and they directed me to another number, but this was last week when Bernie just made his announcement. I believe it was last Thursday, wasn't it?
Was it last Thursday? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So it was pretty early in the game, you know, but they basically don't have any literature or anything. But are you willing to contribute? Are you willing to volunteer? You know, they want to do that, you know, but I says, no, I can't really do that. But I wondered if they could send me some literature, you know, and perhaps I could pass it out to others. But I think it's good that he stays in there. It's way too early, of course, for anybody to be running. But boy, can you imagine a more polarized race than one that would say, and this is never going to happen on either side, but how about Bernie Sanders for the Democrats running against Ted Cruz for the Republican? I mean, you certainly have a choice then, wouldn't you?
Well, it's definitely a choice anyways. It's a choice between Hillary and Bernie, even, because if, say we end up with Jeb Bush against Hillary Clinton again, and it's the two candidates with the most money and the most inside connections.
And I think that's probably going to happen, and I'm not going to say I'm going to move to Canada or whatever, like some people would say, but I'm definitely not going to vote in that election. I would probably either leave the presidential ballot blank, or I'd write in a name or what have you, but actually, it seems to me there's not much difference between the two, is there? Jeb and Hillary?
Well, Hillary is definitely Hillary has more experience. I would say she's a more serious person.
Jeb.
Jeb is.
Jeb seems to be the best of the lot, and I have nothing but disdain for the Bush family. But compared to his brother or his dad, he looks positively statesmanlike. And he does have experience. And so does she, of course.
Well, yeah, he was governor of Florida.
Well, he doesn't seem so stupid like George W. Bush.
He doesn't seem as stupid as George W.
No,
Bush.
he's like.
Well, that would be hard for,
But I mean, I'm pretty sure he's bad, but no.
You know what? We're off topic again. I don't care about any of these people tonight. They get way too much exposure already. We are here tonight to talk about Bernie Sanders. I believe, Rick, you listen to the Tom Hartman program on the radio, right?
Well, it's a little bit hard now because the show that he used to have on from 12 to 3 on 12:30 a.m. been replaced by a guy named John Gibson, who's a right-winger, former liberal, I guess. And now what happens is that Bernie's show from the previous day runs from 9 to 10 on 1680 AM WPRR. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that.
Yeah, 1680.
Yeah, it's a good radio station. They have Fred Wooden, the liberal minister of Fountain Street Church, on Friday. They have a show on Monday called Women's Libers or something like that. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday they have some. This is all in the 10 to 12 a.m. slot.
Now, Tom Hartman has Bernie Sanders on for an hour every week, right?
But
I have here some of the issues.
Hold on a second, Paul.
All right.
Pardon me?
it's hard to hear Tom, though, because he's only on from, like I said, the previous day.
Well, what's hard about that?
Well, because what you have to do is focus your mind around the fact if you want to hear Bernie, it won't be Friday. You'll have to wait till the next Monday. And
yeah,
so,
Bernie is on Friday, but
Right.
they don't air it on AM 1680 until Monday. Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
well, it's just to follow it. In other words, anything on Friday is aired on Monday. Anything on Monday is Tuesday, et cetera, down the line. So,
All
and
right.
usually Bernie used to be in that first hour when he was running from 12. And even when he was on 12:30, Tom was only on from 12 to 2. They cut off his last hour. And I don't know what they put on. But anyway, it's, you know, in this area, it's really hard for progressives to have a voice, you know, except on shows like you have here or on WPRR.
Well, Rick, are you on Facebook or did you go on the internet?
No, unfortunately, I don't have a computer, so.
Oh, well, then you don't see how Bernie's presence on social media is huge. Did you listen to the show, our show earlier, Rick? Did you hear how many volunteers have already committed to Sanders?
I heard how much money he raised. He
In one day?
outraised, I believe, what Cruz, Rubio, and who's the other guy that
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. But somebody told me that on Meet the Press Sunday, there was not one single word mentioned about Bernie Sanders. You know, the so-called liberal media.
Well, on Sunday he was on George Stephanopoulos.
Okay.
He was on George Stephanopoulos on Sunday. His presence on social media is large. You didn't hear what we said. Can someone tell Rick how many volunteers have committed to Bernie Sanders as of 5 or 6 hours ago?
Rick, there are already 175,000 people who have committed to working for Bernie Sanders to become our next president.
Well, that's good.
In the first 24 hours after his announcement, he raised over $1.5 million, and that from an average donation of $43, which means 35,000 people have pledged money to his campaign.
That's probably better than
In one day, in the first day, and in that first day, he got more money than Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio put together. Because as I said, this is a clear choice between a people's candidate and a slew of corporate puppets.
Let me ask something, Steve. We have some of the issues here about Bernie Sanders. That he's willing to work. Is rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure.
Rebuilding America's infrastructure.
Addressing climate change.
Addressing climate change.
Real tax reform.
Real tax reform.
Protecting the most vulnerable Americans.
Protecting the most vulnerable Americans.
Healthcare as a right for all.
Healthcare is a right for all.
Taking on Wall Street.
What was that?
Taking on Wall Street.
Oh, taking on Wall Street. Here, you translate for me.
Making college affordable for all.
Making college affordable for all.
Trade policies that benefit American workers.
That means he does not support TPP.
He does not.
Pay equity for women workers.
Here's the point. Hillary Clinton called the TPP the gold standard of trade agreements. Now, she's backpedaling from that, which we could expect. But remember, her husband ran against NAFTA and then used all of his political capital to get it enacted.
Right.
You remember that, don't you, Rick?
Yes, and he also signed welfare reform, which was the third time around. The first two times the Republicans sent it to him, he vetoed it, and then he did sign it the third time because Dick Morris, I guess, told him, you've got to sign this or you won't win the '96 election.
Right. So this is the kind of politics they play. Would you agree with me, Rick, that Bernie Sanders is the kind of principled politician who doesn't change his views based on what he thinks will be politically expedient or winning the next
absolutely.
election?
He's, was it Diogenes that was looking for an honest man?
They found him in Bernie Sanders.
I think we found one in Bernie. Bernie will say what he thinks and, never mind what the polls or anything say. I think he's going to try his best. If it doesn't work out, well, he gave it a try.
He's in it to win.
And here is one of the pressing issues right now, raising the minimum wage.
Raising the minimum wage, a pressing issue right now.
I think that the most important issue right now is wages. The low wages the people are getting. And Republicans, of course, blocking any increase on the minimum wage.
Because they prefer corporate welfare. They prefer half the people working at Walmart to be getting food stamps because then they can beat up on these food stamp recipients.
You see, I don't understand all these people supporting Justin Amash and Ron Paul that say that, well, you can negotiate your wage with your employer. I mean,
No, we're wage
You can see
takers.
the level of stupidity of some people, no? Like, I mean, who's gonna negotiate with Walmart how much you're gonna make? I'm gonna sit down with the Walton family and say, oh, you know what? I wanna make $20 per hour. What do you think about that?
Yeah, really.
Well,
Get lost.
I don't
Oh,
think
I also want to form a union. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's like,
And what they think is,
I don't really
Yeah.
think that.
I
Next.
mean,
hit the road.
I talk to these young people sometimes, and they say, "Oh, I support Amash because you know he's willing to he wants us to negotiate our wages with the people who's." I mean, these are absurd things like.
Okay, it's absurd. I get it. Well, we're not here to talk about Amash.
Well,
We're not here to
that's
talk
why-
about
that's
any.
why, I
We're
think
here to talk about Bernie Sanders.
Bernie
We got-
Sanders is very important.
We got only a few minutes left, so I want to hear everyone's spiel in 300 words or less. Why do you support Bernie Sanders for president?
Because he supports raising the minimum wage. He supports women's rights. He supports issues that are really important.
Immigration reform,
Immigration
gay
reform.
rights.
I would like to see him talk about immigration reform.
He has talked about immigration reform.
How
How much time do we have? Sudden death, 5 minutes. Alicia.
I think I said my piece. Everything that we've said here tonight is the reason I'm backing Bernie Sanders. I'm a 31-year teacher who is retiring at the end of this school year, which for me is in
This is
August.
awesome.
And I'm going to be a political animal for the next, until Bernie Sanders is elected. Hear, hear.
You're here. To victory.
To victory.
If Bernie can't win,
Bernie-
we can't win.
That's right.
Vote for a human future with a human face.
Victory for Bernie and all of us.
For Bernie.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, how about you, Bobby? We're going to give you the last word.
I think we've said everything. You know, he's just because he sticks his ground and he's not bought by any corporations. He's already said he's not going to accept any super PAC money, and I think we just have to. I think there's some hope.
True or false? In 1964, Bernie Sanders lived on a kibbutz in Israel.
True.
True. Yes, indeed. A point for Bobby Sue.
True or false? Bernie Sanders is running to move Hillary Clinton to the left.
False.
False.
Bernie Sanders is running to win, and he's not a fringe candidate.
True or false? Bernie Sanders graduated from the University of Chicago.
True.
True. True or false? Bernie Sanders' brother is running for a seat in the British Parliament.
Again, true.
True,
I
that's
heard he was,
true.
yeah.
True or false? Bernie Sanders' parents were poor Jewish immigrants from Poland.
Correct.
True.
True.
True or false? Bernie Sanders' wife was the president of a small but prestigious college in New England.
True.
True. True or false? Bernie Sanders has 4 offspring and numerous grandchildren.
True.
True. So we got 4 minutes, huh? Well,
Wow.
you know, we've said it all. If we still got time for a call, then this is time for you to get your last word in.
Bernie calls himself a social democrat. Stephen, do you have that sheet that I gave you about
Social
the
democracy?
salient points of social democracy? The
Yeah,
one
there
I
you go.
wrote? No?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, somewhat. I
Uh,
believe he calls
what
himself
about,
a democratic socialist, not a social
Democratic
democrat.
socialist, yeah.
Yes.
He's favoring to rebuild infrastructure. I think that's key to.
It's big.
He wants to put people to work, and he wants to make sure they get a fair wage. He wants to prevent tax evaders from moving their money offshore.
Yes.
He wants, we didn't mention that he's one of the few voices who's really standing up for the veterans. He didn't
Yes.
vote for the wars, but he is going to stand by those veterans for a number of reasons. One, because it's the right thing to do, and the other thing, because it's good for the economy. You can't just throw people away on the street and expect to have a useful economy. And besides, it's a disgrace. He says, this is a disgrace to America before the world, the way we treat our veterans in this country.
Agreed.
I'm glad that he's running because, we have all these clowns from the Republican Party just talking about meaningless things. And we have a candidate who's running for serious issues, for increasing the minimum wage. That's the pressing issue here in the United States. Better wages for people,
Right.
living wages for people. That's what people need. More money to spend to pay the rent, to pay the
Right.
bills.
People need to be able to save some money so they're not so insecure, so they won't lick the hand that beats them in the workplace. They also need a social safety net. They need health care for all, Medicare for all, so that they can leave a job and get a better job. They could they need a way to go to get education, and he says this over and over again. Our young people have got to be able to get their educations without going so far in debt that they can't do the things that need to be done because they got to go make that money and pay back that debt. This is absurd. Other countries don't do it this way. They send
Let's
their-
tax the rich.
It needs to
Go,
be
Bernie.
more.
Go Bernie.
Well, it's been fun. We'll see you in a couple weeks. In the meantime, educate yourself, and educate others.
And vote for Bernie.
Well, yeah. Go volunteer for Bernie. Get involved in this fracking campaign. Get involved in the legalization of marijuana for the upcoming ballot. And keep looking up.
Thank you very much.
Cindy.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, Dick Wiedemann.
And thank you,
Cindy
Pablo.
Hicks. So you're smiling. I guess your neighbor didn't come back and bring any more midnight.
Well, I hope they
Maybe we should
Already agreed to debate